So, Reed Boggs,
What's up, Keith?
you're here in Cleveland
Yes, sir.
for a little
Back.
R&R, if you will. No? Yes?
Yeah.
What are you doing in Cleveland?
Came to ride Rays and visit some family, see some people I haven't seen in a while, and
Nice.
hang out, yeah.
So, what's the newest happenings with you? Like, everybody knows you just came off a Redbull Rampage,
Yep.
which was incredible, I have to say. I've never been out there myself, so I don't really know like what the actual like extent to some of that stuff is. But I know that you lived out there for a while, and to you, I don't know, is it comfortable for you to be there yet?
Yeah, kind of, I guess. Moving out there and just living there, being in an environment, walking on the ridges, just living and breathing it is kind of what you have to do and what you have to do to feel comfortable out there. So I've been trying to do that, even like when I don't feel like riding some days, I'm just going out there hiking by myself and like looking
Yeah.
at stuff and standing on drops, standing on jumps, and just like getting it in my head, because that's what you have to do. You have to burn it in your brain and just like living it.
To know like how much speed do I need?
Yeah.
Is this a brake check? Is that a brake check? Like which way is the landing? Is it a little more to the left or a little
Yeah.
more to the right? Like you have to kind of know that.
Yeah.
So when we're watching it on TV, we're not getting the whole like kind of how grand that place is, like how big it is, how
Yeah.
gnarly that stuff is. When they say
Right.
exposed, what does that exactly mean when they say it's all exposed?
When it's exposed, like say you're riding on a ridge and on the left and on the right, there's nothing there. So if you fall off the trail, you're kind of like, it's game over if it's like a really exposed ridge. So the exposure, if you have more exposure on your line and your rampage run, then you get more points because it's way more dangerous and there's no room for error.
Interesting.
So that's why like you saw Andrei Lakonagi today, or this year's run, he like blew off his line for a bit and like almost went off the ridge. And if he went off that ridge, like that's game over. 'Cause you
It
can't
was-
fall off. It's hundreds of feet.
It was insane
Yeah.
the way he continued to ride that out.
It's bike handling
Now,
skills.
so obviously it's bike handling skills, right? But at a certain point, you can't really bail, I guess, right? I mean, if you get off a trail, you have to either ride it out or know that there's something coming up that you're just not going to make, and then you try to stop or bail, which stopping at that angle, going down like that on a descent, is almost impossible, right? Especially if you're offline,
Exactly.
because everything there is like super loose. So like even if you grabbed a handful of brakes, you're just going to slide and possibly just completely whatever. The way he did that, I literally couldn't breathe when I was watching him like live on Red Bull TV. Was like,
I think something like that too, because he was so close to it and he knows it. He was digging there for a week, building that line. Of course, he walked past that part twice a day, going back down for lunch or something, you know? So, like, I think something kicks in on your brain too, like, oh, I can't fall here, and he almost did. So he's like, the best riding he can ever do, he has to do it right now, right then, and get back online, or else he's done. So I think that kicked in, and yeah, so like you just have to be ready for anything that comes at you.
right.
So like right when you drop in for your run, you're just like full focus, tunnel vision. You don't care about the helis. You don't care about anybody screaming at you. It's just like what's right in front of you, and you just got to remember what you practice and be confident in your skills. Like it's all mental confidence, basically. I think
Yeah.
if you're strong in the head game, then you should be good. And like
It seems to be
skills come after.
it seems to be the going thing, because I was talking to David Lee yesterday, and he was talking about the same thing. Now he hasn't done Rampage, but he does a lot of slopestyle stuff and big stuff as you do as well. But he was talking about the same thing, like it's in your head, and you have to focus, and you can't rely on a second run. Like your first run is your run, and then when you get done with that, then you kind of see how things stack up this way or that way. And then especially in Rampage, I've seen guys not even take their second run because they're just so stoked to get to the bottom.
Exactly, yeah. You don't want to do your heaviest run twice. You want to just do it once, get it done with, and be like, oh, okay, I did that. Oh, my score is not as high as I wanted it. Okay, well, I can do this here and do this over there, and that should bring like 2 or 3 more points up because I did everything I wanted to do, so let's step it up now. So that's the way you have to go into things. And
So let me ask you this about like sort of the inner workings of Red Bull Rampage. Are the judges there like the whole week you guys are building? Is it
Not
just
the
1
whole
week of building?
It's 10 days of building,
Okay, cool.
1 day of like a rest day, and
Has it always been 10 days? Okay.
10-day event pretty much, yeah. So, it's like 4 days on, the judges aren't really there, and then the off day, and then the rest of the days, and that's when the judges come. Stuff is like formed more, they see like kind of lip and landing, so they get a gist of what you're trying to do and how your line shapes.
Do they ever
up.
come up and ask you?
Always, yeah.
Oh, really?
I spent, with like Kyle Jameson, he was one of the judges.
Yep.
I spent like 2 hours with him, just talking about my line, talking about what I'm gonna do, and this and that. And he spends that amount of time with every rider to like know where you're going and know where their head's at and everything like that.
Right.
And I think there's a panel of 4 or 5 judges, and all the judges try and do that with like various people, and then they relay it to everybody. So.
Right. So they probably have like a sheet or something.
So,
they
yeah.
write notes and
as
this
we're
and that.
dropping in and start getting.
So they kind of know where you're going and what you're doing, and then they'll judge you on like your line and how you look, and if you throw something with, that makes sure that it's to pedals or it's to whatever. So what was the gnarliest thing you did this year?
The gnarliest thing was just the drop I did in the middle. I didn't even do a trick on it because there was just a lot of free fall.
Yeah.
And just the way like you saw in the videos, like how I had to suck up and just like keep everything level. Like you couldn't let it go like this, couldn't let it go like that. So it was just like the little stuff in the air to get to the landing perfectly. Because I think it was around 70 feet to where you're landing. And
that's incredible, man.
That's like the tip to the landing. I don't know how much down or out exactly, but just like the actual form of falling, it was 70 feet, and like the impact is kind of rough, but we had such a steep landing to where it didn't feel that rough, so it was like pretty good.
Yeah.
But that was the scariest, like really scared of guinea for the first time. And somebody hit it, a couple or 2 or 3 people hit it last year. And this year, I got to hit it first because I was up there, so I didn't know speed or anything. So luckily I had Cam McCall right there and Dusty Weigel helping me with speed.
Oh, nice.
Like, do you think that's good? And a couple times they're like, I think that's too slow. I'm like, go back up. It's too fast. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go in the middle now. And then I hit it, and I went a little deep, but it was good. And
yeah.
Then I knew I had it for my run, and I was stoked. And everything else kind of came because we were building it, and wasn't as gnarly, but that drop was just hectic. It was the biggest thing.
Does that make you feel way more comfortable when you have like a guy like Cam who has been there, done that, like everything that you can imagine, have him there and just sort of like guiding you through it? And I'm sure they do that for a lot of the riders as well, but say for yourself for the first time doing like a 70-foot drop. I mean, is that something that you practice? Do you practice 70-foot drops?
Having Cam McCall there, I've seen so many videos and him with Tyler McCall and stuff helping him with speed check, so I know he's one of the guys that like can see it. He just has it in his brain, like what the speed is going to look like. So having him there, I trusted myself more and trusted him to like get it perfectly. But leading up to that practicing, you can't really practice a 70-foot drop anywhere. Luckily in the spring, I had some friends come out to Utah and we built like a 60-foot drop. But it wasn't like that. It was just like a different feeling. It was like downward takeoff, so you can see everything, and then you pop off, so it's a little safer than a drop that's flat and landing down here where it's fully blind. You're coming off a cliff like, I have no idea where this landing is. I'm just trusting that I have the speed.
All you can see is the horizon.
Just straight into the
Pretty
horizon,
much.
right into the abyss of things. But like right when you come off, then you instantly know if you have it or you don't. So that's the scary part. And right when I came off for that first time, I was like, oh, I for sure have this.
So then you start speeding up your mental process. Like, all right, cool, I'm gonna land this sometime soon.
Yeah.
It's like 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3. Like,
it's like
you know what I mean?
Everything
like,
slows down.
Holy cow! Like this is a very long drop. I can't even imagine though. I mean, I'm trying to imagine, but I can't. But anyway, it's got to be just the most awesome feeling without a parachute strapped to your back. I mean, you've got to be going. Do they have like speed type stuff? Do they know how fast you're actually falling? Is there anything like that? Anything that you that would be interesting to see, like as you get like further you go, like
That
not
would be
reaching
crazy.
terminal velocity, which is like 120. Obviously, you're not going that fast, but it's got to be like an amazing feeling in your gut
It's something, yeah.
to do that.
Because I don't get, you know the feeling you get on roller coasters? Just the initial,
Yes.
I never get that, but on that specific drop, the first time I hit it, I had that feeling.
Because you were holding your breath or just kind
Maybe,
of
yeah, something.
like breathing in, sort of.
And like to get that feeling on a bike was like super, super cool. And now I'm itching for it. Like I want to get that feeling again. But I might have to wait till Rampage next year.
Really, you won't go out there and practice that again? You won't go out there and send it? Just,
I don't know.
I mean,
At
if you're
the
there,
Rampage site, like I don't know if I'll just send that. If I just have buddies there, like it's kind of gnarly just to send with nothing on the line.
that's crazy to even think about because you can't, like, you don't want to practice that. But you just wait till next year and just say, well, all right, here we go. We're just
I
going to
know I
send
can
this.
do it now.
again.
Yeah, like I don't know. I guess it would be cool to build something like that, but to build a feature to that extent, just for the hell of it, is kind of hectic. Like,
No, I
And
know.
where can you
but
build
it's
that?
there. But it's there.
yeah, that drop is there, ready to hit. Like I can go hit it tomorrow if I wanted to, but I don't think anybody would. It's just kind of dumb to hit it just for the hell of it.
I mean, you'd have to film it, obviously. You know,
Yeah.
you'd have to have 4 or 5 guys out there filming it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd almost rather, in my mind, just wait till you actually have to do it at Rampage. I don't know. Right now,
Wow.
it's kind of scary to hit, but
That's
like I said, I
insane.
have a 60-foot drop built just a little safer. Like
Mhm.
you know you can do it. You see everything rolling up to it, and
Yeah.
I hit that one. Just I can show up and ride it as is. and
So the
it's all
year
good.
before, was it the year before when you had the trouble with the canyon gap and you didn't get to compete? Or that was 2 years?
years ago, yeah.
2 years ago. So you've done it 3 years now?
Yeah,
So the one canyon gap where you were in practice,
yeah.
and how far was that gap?
That was like 55 feet.
55 feet.
Yeah.
So that was definitely like a double where you could see the landing, right?
Mhm.
So you have a takeoff and landing,
Yeah.
and you could see it even though it's 55 feet out there.
Yeah.
And for those of you watching, walk off 55 feet and turn around and look where you started. It's no joke. Did you go back and like kind of redeem yourself on that?
So 2 years ago, yeah, I crashed the Thursday and the Friday was
Yeah.
finals. Got out of
Yeah.
that. Surgery, did all that, physical therapy. So it was like 4 months afterwards, I went back to it and they tore down the lip
Oh,
with machines.
oh,
Because it's like a really big liability from the Redbull Rampage, just have like 55-foot
Oh.
canyon gap sitting there. So that was not rideable. So we went over to the like old OG Rampage zones and
Yeah.
like where they filmed where the trail ends. There's just like all the classic stuff over there.
yeah.
And there was like a 40 to 50-foot canyon gap just built from like New World Disorder or World Trail Ends, one of those videos. So I hit that one for redemption.
Nice.
And man, the same thing happened. I hit it, cased, went over the bars. But luckily my
What?
shoulder was strong, like no problems. And I was like, how did I just do that again? Like this is what took me out for 4 months. So then I brushed myself off, went back up, went way faster, got it good, and then I was like, okay, called it.
Called
I'm gonna
it.
chill with canyon gaps for a bit because it's just hard to judge speed, you know, like because they're just flat and you got to come in from a real steep roll in and it's just really hard to judge speed. So the past 2 years I didn't build a canyon gap on my line at Rampage just because I didn't want to risk casing or anything. So.
Did you get to see Brandon's Fairclaw's flip, canyon gap flip?
Yeah. I
Did
saw
you get
that.
to see it?
Yeah, I haven't stood on it yet, but I know how big that canyon gap is, so I.
You know he made it by like inches.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
he almost kind of cased it, but not cased it. But it was like you couldn't have got it any more perfect than when he got it. And that was another one of those things when you're watching on TV. Couldn't believe he sent it. Total
So
backflip and then
difficult.
just barely just case it was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
And you have to think too. The canyons, like, they're always just dead flat. Normally, a good jump is a little stepped up, right?
Right.
Step up landing.
Right.
And always the canyon gap ones, because we're going so far, they're always just dead straight. It's kind of like a long and low. So to see him flip a long and low over a canyon is so gnarly.
Everything out there is gnarly,
Yeah.
but I want to go out there and actually see it for myself.
Yeah, you have to.
So for the people who are watching now, like if they've been out there and they've seen it, they're like, yeah, we know, like it's crazy, you know, to be able to do that. And then, like you said, the mental game, you know, being able to be prepared for that
Yeah.
and be out there all the time and just be able to just ride it. Like, yeah, sending 70 foot, step downs or whatever gaps, like is something you wouldn't want to do all the time, but just being out there helps a ton.
Yeah, exactly. Get you ready for it for when you do want to send it. Then it's like, okay, spend enough time out here. It's in my head. I think I can do this. But yeah. It's all confidence, like anything.
So where did you place this year?
11th.
So does that guarantee you a spot for next year?
No, top 10 guarantees you a spot.
Oh, one out?
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
I think as it stands, top 10 get automatically invited. There's 21 riders. They give 4 wild cards out, I believe. Like just, oh yeah, you've been in Rampage in the past. We like your riding. We know you can do this. And then the other spots, they kind of leave it to the Rampage qualifier.
Okay.
Which is in Oregon.
It'll be there again.
I believe so.
Proving grounds.
It's still early to say. I don't know for sure.
Right.
Todd Barber and his team at Red Bull always switch things up, so
right.
It could be something new. But yeah, that course is still there, and this past year they took top 3 from there and 2 other spots.
And you won that one. You won the proving ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to go back and either hope for a wild card or they'll let you know, right?
I hope
fairly
I can get the
soon.
wild card this year because
I hope so too.
I won the qualifier and I got 1 spot out of like the pre-qualified.
You would be the
Rampage
first
guys,
one
so,
to like say.
Yeah. So I think I proved myself this year. I hope.
I would hope to think that they would think the same thing as well.
Just be more.
And both runs were solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
You actually got a better score on your second run than on your first one.
Yeah.
That is just incredible to do that, right? Just to make it down without, something happening, and not like come up short on a backflip on the very last jump right before the corral. Who did that? Somebody had a really good run.
His second run.
Was it?
He would have won. But he on a flat spin that he does with his eyes closed, came up short.
I couldn't believe it.
He was so mad.
Couldn't believe it. So there was
in the rider tent, like, oh yeah.
Oh really?
Furious.
Then
he got over it and he's like, I don't care. Doesn't matter.
I don't care. Where's the beer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do enjoy watching him ride.
He's one of my favorites all time.
Yeah, he's
From
definitely
day one.
one of my favorites. Yeah, just his aggressive style and like he kind of puts it. Now I don't know him personally, but he kind of puts off like this. I'm just gonna send it kind of deal. Like I'm just gonna go out here and just kill it. I'm gonna be the best rider out here today. There's nobody is a better rider than me out here today. That's how he kind of comes off. I don't know what kind of personality he has. I'm sure it's very outgoing and whatever. But man, just his riding is just amazing to watch. Yeah.
So aggressive.
Yeah, one of these days I'll be able to get out to Rampage and
get
see
out
all
there.
that stuff. Yeah.
Gonna be sweet. Yeah, you should come out next year for sure.
Well,
That'll be
the
my
problem
4th
is,
year and I'm gonna do good. I'm gonna kill
of
it,
course,
so.
the problem is that we're open here at Ray's, and for me to get away is almost impossible.
For sure.
Like I would have to take some vacation time, and I usually try and do that all in the summer. That's the part that stinks. They need to move it up to September.
It's too hot in Utah.
No, I know.
October's like the perfect month to do it. For sure.
Because it's just starting to cool off just a little bit.
Yeah.
So, does it ever get super cold there?
In the wintertime, it'll get, in the day, because it's just sunshine there nonstop. So in the day, it's still in the 50s. But then at night, it could get down to the 20s or 30s. But
Okay.
we still ride.
Snow?
Yeah, a little bit of snow. In St. George, the city itself, never really.
Right.
But in Virgin, a little higher in elevation. Some of, like, the faces, the sun doesn't hit all day. So, yeah, that stuff, like, it'll be snowing there a little bit. But
Right.
you can still dig a lot, and that's, like, the best time to dig and
Right.
build some new features and whatnot.
Now I see a lot of these guys, a lot of the Rampage guys, a lot of the guys that I see on your Instagram, super into pit bikes. What's going on? I mean, it's always been like a pit bike thing, but you and DJ and Ethan and probably a lot of other guys. Like, what's this sort of? I mean, is it just like a fun thing, or do you think it kind of helps you with your riding, or is it just completely all fun?
I think we all like riding moto a lot, like normal dirt bikes, going to the track and stuff. But
Right.
it's just kind of a hassle. Load the bike up, go out to the track, bike maintenance. Whereas the 110, the little pit bikes, it's always ready to go. You just put gas in it. You don't have to worry about changing the air cleaner every time you ride or changing the oil that much. It's just always ready to go, and you can take it out to like the mountain bike jumps that we ride. We can share jumps with everybody, and like our other buddies have a whole pit bike track in their yard, and it's just fun. And
Yeah.
we try and flip them and do all these other little tricks, and I don't know if it helps riding mountain bikes, but it's just a lot of fun.
It's like a break from mountain biking in a way, but it's still kind of the same thing, a little bit, right?
It's just so much fun.
So not only that, but like in the bed of a pickup truck, you can only fit maybe 3 big motorcycles, but pit bikes, you fit like 7 of those things in the back.
Just throw 'em in, and we don't care about them either, so.
No, it's not about like who's the shiniest or
really.
who's the fastest. You guys aren't
DJ's
tweaking.
pit bike is the sketchiest thing I've ever seen because he just ghost rides it, and like he tries and backflips and bails and like kicks the bars straight again, and like I've seen him ghost ride it into a fence before. Like he just doesn't care. We just have so many laughs on it. I think that's the main thing that draws us to him so much. Is everyone just always has a good time and messes around.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
But you never seriously like take them to like a pit bike race.
No, never real serious. Just always free riding.
That's great though, I guess.
Yeah.
I've never been to Utah, but from what we've talked many times about Utah. You try to get me to come out there, and I want to. But there you can
Anything
literally,
goes.
Anything goes in Utah.
Pretty
So
much.
like,
'Cause
if
there's
you
so
just
much
had a
desert
dirt
and
bike,
vast desert that there's no cops out there or anything, so you can do whatever you want. You can take cars out there and jump them, and pit bike wherever you want, build mountain bike jumps, moto wherever you want,
Jeeps,
Yeah.
side by sides,
Yeah, all of it.
4-wheelers, dirt bikes, everything.
and it's just whatever you want to do. It's awesome.
So we talked the other day about base jumping.
hmm
So they do that out there too, right?
Yeah,
Only in
there's-
certain spots?
Yeah, there's more of that is in like, have you ever heard of Caneville?
No.
It's a big moto spot. It's like middle of Utah. That's where it's like higher cliffs and like more straight down.
Right.
Because out in Virgin, yeah, there's cliffs and steep ones, but a lot of them are like figured out to ride mountain bikes down.
Right.
Whereas like you can't like run and jump because there's
Right.
stuff that
So is that the next thing that you're into, base jumping?
I don't think so. Man. I don't like the parachute aspect of it.
Why? The
'Cause I
parachute
think
is
I'd
what breaks
freak
your
out.
fall.
I'd freak out and would forget to pull it or something, and then I'd die.
Well, you
Whereas
can't.
mountain bike, you come off and you just do nothing. You just land. Like if you run and jump, you can't do that. You have to pull your parachute. So.
Well, yeah, but you have to pull your parachute.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
You
have-
would forget.
maybe.
No, you can't forget. You're not
I just
allowed.
remember that one time I went skydiving with all you guys at
Yes.
Ray's, and
Yes.
I
You don't-
was just attached to the guy.
I know you don't have to pull your chute
I was
then.
just like it was so crazy that I don't know what would go through my mind to pull it. I mean, yeah, probably it's life or death, but I don't
Of
know.
course.
I remember it was just really scary.
That's your number one rule in skydiving. Is this? You know what this means? What does this mean
No.
in skydiving? Some of you guys out there know that. Pull.
Pull.
This is pull.
Pull it now.
Yeah, you need it because the instructor's looking at you like this close and going like this, and they look at their altimeter and they go, "It's time to," because you can't hear anything. You can try and yell as much as you want, but that wind rushing at your ear, you can't hear anything. So it's like this. Don't forget this. Don't forget to pull.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
We gotta
just
do it
kinda
again.
Too extreme for me.
The base
really.
jump.
I mean,
it is.
I would.
It is.
I wouldn't base jump, but I would skydive maybe again.
You wouldn't base jump, but you'd huck a 70-foot on a bicycle.
Yeah, it's different.
Not to me, it's not. I think that the consequences are almost this. Well, not the same, but it's still pretty gnarly. Both of them are very gnarly. That's why it kind of surprises me that you wouldn't be like into like something as gnarly as that.
Yeah.
I think you definitely have to have like a little loose screws, but then again, doing what you do on this thing in here and everywhere else riding this, and then on your downhill bike doing the stuff that you do, I think you've got a couple screws loose.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's calculated.
Different screws. That
It's
are loose.
calculated. It must be. It must
Like,
be.
Adolf Silva.
Yes, he's
Insane guy on a bike.
insane.
And he skydives. His mom is a professional wingsuit girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she does all that, and he does all that.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
he has all the screws loose. Whereas like DJ Brandt is really good at mountain biking, but he won't even ride a roller coaster with me. He hates roller coasters.
Because it makes him sick, or just because
No,
he doesn't like the fact that
he doesn't
it
like
could
the
come off
feeling
the
in his
track?
stomach.
Oh.
Like he just doesn't like him. So like it's just weird mentalities.
It is kind of weird that way, where it's like, I'll do this, which is super gnar, but I won't do this, which is also super gnar, with almost the same consequences, but no way for this one. And oh yeah, I do that every day. It's
Weird how that works.
yeah, it is a little weird for sure. Yeah. So you're living in Oregon now?
Yeah, renting a spot in Oregon right now with Carson Storage.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. Right now it's just snowy and cold there, so we can't ride as much.
Right.
So that's why I'm staying with my dad in Utah right now.
Oh.
Just filming a bit, riding a bit before I go back to Oregon and snowboard for like a month or so.
Right.
Then
So
season starts.
so what's coming up next for you? Like in the near future, what are you doing?
In like January, February is when we are starting to go to Hawaii and New Zealand, and we're gonna start filming our movie.
For?
Just for ourselves. It's gonna be me, DJ Brandt, and Ethan Nell. Peter Jameson is gonna help us out with it.
Okay. Is he gonna shoot
yeah.
it or direct it or like?
Everything. He just bought like a brand new camera, like one of those red cameras.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He's got some, and he's got really like a lot of skill filming and photography
Absolutely.
and whatnot. So we're
So-
gonna try and do like a 30 to 40 minute video of just documenting our lives, filming like different contests, stuff out in Utah, pit bikes, just our everyday life, and document it and have fun with it.
So
Kinda work on
who puts up the money to like for you guys to travel to Hawaii and travel to New Zealand and like do all that? Like who foots the bill for all that stuff?
Yeah, when it's like events, it's like sponsors that want us to get their bikes there.
Right.
And to ride in the events. So like Trek helps me with the travel budget
Cool.
to get to all the events. But for like this movie we're trying to do, we have like a package that we're sending to all our sponsors because we all have different sponsors.
I gotcha.
But if we could get, a couple thousand from this sponsor and a couple thousand over here, and if everybody can do that, then we'll create a budget to pay like the filmer and to pay our airfare, accommodation. It just pays for all that.
I gotcha.
Then we'll have a production for that.
So it does come from the sponsors themselves,
Yeah.
and then like if you guys are close, maybe you'll put a few bucks into it. But do you guys get money back from that, or it's just exposure? You use that kind of filming stuff for just exposure.
Yeah, well, some deals, we have like a salary, and then we have a travel budget. So some of it, yeah, we put away because that's the money that we make. That's like our job is
Right.
riding and promoting their products. So that money, yeah, we get to put away. And then we have a separate budget to go and travel with and film and contest entries and whatnot.
So what has it been 5 years now you've been gone from the Cleveland area?
Yeah, coming up on 5 years.
We miss you a lot, I will say that.
I come
But
back.
it was probably the best thing you could have ever done.
Yeah.
I remember us talking about that and you coming to me and just sort of kind of saying, hey,
Right.
I need to get out of Ohio. I think you were working here at the time or
Yeah,
something.
I think I was gonna start the job here for the season, but you're like, well, if you're gonna leave halfway, can't start.
I'm
I was
like,
like, this is a tough decision. I was
it's
like,
tough
okay, I won't
decision.
start then.
Yeah, I mean,
I might move then, and then it happened. So
yeah, I mean, obviously this is a question a lot of people ask, but I mean, did you see yourself doing like what you're doing now, like 5 years ago? I mean, this is obviously where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
And it only took 5 years. And a lot of people go, well, 5 years is a long time. It's like, well, if you come from a little town near Cleveland and you ride at Rays all the time and you're just trying to get your name out there and your skills are progressing at a point to where you need to go somewhere else to be able to take those skills to the next level, like you basically go out there and start at nothing.
for sure, yeah.
I mean, and then you start hanging out, you start
When I moved
doing
out there,
things.
I worked at a car wash.
Yeah, that's right.
Just
You were
driving
working at a
cars.
car
I
wash.
was like the lowest of the lowest. Like I had a couple $100 in my bank account, like nothing. And yeah, I just had to keep climbing the ladder to work up. But I always had in my mind, I always had a passion for two wheels, like biking or motocross.
Yeah.
So I always saw myself like doing something, like watching all the movies as a kid, like, oh, I want to do that. It's always been in my head. It's never left. So I always knew I wanted to find something to do like that as
Right.
like a career. So I didn't know where it was gonna go. I don't know if it was gonna be pit bikes or motocross or BMX or cross country or downhill. I have no idea. But now it's kind of going in the freeride direction, just big
Right.
bike.
For now,
Freeride.
but it could
For now, yeah.
it could go somewhere else. Yeah, I mean, who knows? 5 years from now, you could be racing cyclocross.
Hope not.
Hope not.
5 years.
You could be
from
wearing
now,
full
rally
spandex.
car would be sweet.
Rally car would be sweet. Any
be
kind of like a race car. Well, I mean, you got to find people to give you money to do that.
Yeah,
You know, in a
yeah.
car. Somebody like Brandon Semenuk, you know, who's already into that kind of thing.
Right.
You know, drifting is another one that seems to be really popular. You know, with the car stuff.
Yeah.
But that's huge money. Huge money. People think that these bikes are expensive, which they are. I mean, in a certain. I mean, if you're not around these bikes all the time,
Yeah.
and you find out how much one of these things would cost, like you'd be like, whoa. But like a rally car to keep that thing gassed up and repaired and
Yeah, you
and
probably pay for it
trailered
something
and
like that.
oh my God, it's like it's an amazing amount of money. So could you see yourself maybe doing something like that instead of bikes? I mean, if it wasn't bikes, I mean, what could you
If it
see
wasn't
yourself
bikes,
doing?
I still would want to do something adrenaline filled. Probably not
Sure.
skydiving, but
Like maybe moto.
moto or BMX, like something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something adrenaline filled.
So you're doing more of the free ride stuff.
Yeah.
So what about like the slopestyle circuit? Is that in your plans at all to do any of those? I mean, do you not need to do any of that?
Right now, with the sponsors I have, they're really psyched on Rampage stuff, and they're psyched
Nice.
with kind of Rampage being almost the only event I do, which is good because I can focus all year on that event and try and do really good. So that's the way I kind of see myself going right now. The slopestyle stuff is fun. I love riding the courses. I'm friends with all the slopestyle guys. A lot of them are like my really good close friends, like Nikolai Rogakin.
Yeah, oh yeah.
One of my best friends, and he's on top of the slopestyle game right now. But just thinking about doing those tricks that you have to do nowadays, people are doing double backflips with their eyes closed,
Right.
cork 7 bar spins, like those kind of scare me more than a 70-foot drop, honestly.
Right.
Which is kind of weird because the jumps you do them on are not that big. They're still pretty big, but nothing compared to like Rampage stuff. And I don't know, just in my head, doing the tricks and like thinking about stuff really fast and like the positions you have to be in.
Right.
I think that's more difficult for me than doing a big drop, like Rampage size, and like riding a steep ridge or something.
Right.
But other people, like Nikolai, can do that stuff in his sleep, so I don't know.
You know, obviously, you are one of the people who started at Rays, and now you're like at a Redbull Rampage level, which is like insane. But I mean,
Makes it a thing.
what did Rays? I mean, what does it mean to you? I mean, when somebody talks about Rays, do you ever talk about Rays when you're out
Oh yeah.
and about and just
Yeah.
say, yeah, Rays is blah blah blah? I mean, what did it mean to you as a kid coming up? I mean, what age did you start?
I think I started coming here a lot when I was maybe 8. Was really the time I started coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then religiously throughout like high school. I was here with my buddy Josh Hoffer every day almost.
It seemed like
every
every
chance I
day.
could get, I would get a ride up here. Like even before I was driving, I would pay some buddies that would work up here. Like, oh, can I come up for your shift and I'll leave when you're done?
Right.
Like, and just ride. So
Right.
yeah, it's sweet. But yeah, just having Rays in my background, it definitely shaped me as a different kind of rider. Whereas Ethan Nell grew up in Utah riding all the Redbull Rampage stuff, and then I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, riding indoor mountain bike park Rays. So it was just kind of different upbringing and different riding styles. And people think it's crazy when I say I'm from Cleveland. They're like, "How are you a free rider right now? Like that doesn't make sense." But it's hard to think because Rays has so much different terrain. From box jumps that are really steep and different length and different sizes and different transfers, different like North Shore things. So just riding all different types of stuff and going out to the desert, it just relates a lot better than like me growing up just at a skate park or just at a set of dirt jumps, because I had all
Right.
these different elements to put into my riding, and that's what shaped me as like just kind of my own rider. Like I'm not really focusing on following anybody. Like I'm just doing what I enjoy. That's why like in a Rampage run, I built that open loop. Yeah, it's not gonna score the highest because Rampage is just for bigger features and
Right.
going for
right.
distance and speed. But the open loop thing I built at Rampage, there was a feature here in the rhythm, or not the rhythm room, the resi room, that you guys had a spine over to the resi landing.
Yes.
And me and Josh used to ride that in 360 all the time when that was available. And so I remember the feeling of that, and so I wanted to create it again and do an actual one, and we kind of built it similar.
Yeah.
And just put that in the Rampage run just because that's where I grew up riding. It's just kind of different stuff. So
That's pretty funny. I never thought of like the relationship of
Yeah.
like being here and that Spox. I think it was a
was a
Spox at that
Spox.
at that time, and then using that and going, oh yeah, remember when blah blah blah, and then you just built one at Rampage. That's pretty cool.
yeah, so just having all these different elements here definitely shapes you to be your own rider. So I think it's pretty beneficial. I'm glad I grew up in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think it's also like the flow here is
Mhm.
not like you would get at maybe like a skate park where there's only like, so much space and you can run some flow lines, but maybe there's one or two.
Exactly.
And
yeah, that's a
here
big
there's
thing.
just so many different
can keep it
flow.
going,
You can keep it
And
going.
it teaches you to like, oh, I'm gonna do a bar spin here and 360 this jump and then backflip and then do this thing on the hip, and that relates to like a slopestyle run or a Rampage run so much more than just, okay, I'm gonna drop in and do a cork 7 bar in this resi. Like yeah, you can do that trick, but now do another trick after that. So like I had that here, just the constant flow of keeping everything going. Whereas some kids at contests, like slopestyle contests mostly, like they'll do a crazy trick and then they can't get over the next one just because they didn't grow up with having the flow and constantly riding a line. So
Yeah.
it's really good to grow up here, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this park offers a lot for pretty much everybody.
This
You
is
know.
like the highlight of my childhood, is race MTB. Like I was here literally every day. Just because I loved biking so much, and there was all my friends were up here riding too. Like I had my friends in school, and then I had my race friends,
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
Well, you've definitely earned the spot on the Hall of Fame wall, for sure.
Yes.
So we have to get that up. So before you leave, you have to leave something with us.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
No underwear, please.
Mm.
And no socks, but something.
Yeah.
Maybe a pair of gloves, maybe just something of yours
Yeah.
to leave. Or if you don't have anything here, maybe send something would be really cool.
I should have brought like one of my Rampage jerseys or something. That would have been cool.
I would love to put up a Rampage jersey of yours here as like, yeah, that would be super sick.
Yeah. Maybe I could send one. 'Cause
Yeah.
they gave me a couple extras for like my actual Rampage kit, and I only really wore one, so.
That would be
Extra one
awesome.
I can give you guys.
Yeah, I think everybody would be like, oh my God,
Sweet.
like an actual Rampage jersey would
Yeah.
be cool.
Totally.
Yeah. So, so the next thing, you guys are just filming some stuff. You're going to be out snowboarding in Oregon.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing some stuff. Looking forward to the summer, as we all are, especially here in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this summer I'll get to come out and visit you. Hopefully, I mean that's the plan anyway. Me and my wife are going to hopefully travel out west for the first time. We've never been out west before,
Yeah.
so we're going to hopefully come out and see you and spend
Yeah.
some time with some
Summer-
shuttles.
Summer in Oregon would be nice, and then fall time if you can get out to Rampage in Utah.
Man, that would be so sick. That would be so cool to be out there and part of that whole party.
Right.
That's kind of what it is, right? It's a Redbull Rampage
Party in the desert for a month,
for a month.
pretty much.
That would be great. But I don't think at this point in my life, I don't think I'm interested in being on the build team.
It's strenuous, man.
Oh my God, I
It's
can't even imagine what it's like to be out there with that. And I see the guys with the bandanas on, and like, cause it's so dusty, and
Yeah.
I forget who was doing the Brett Reeder, I think his team was like chipping away at this huge rock.
Yeah, and it's the white rock, and the white rock out there is treacherous. Like,
So stay away from the
yeah,
white rock.
Yeah, if you start chipping at that, you're like, oh no, I have like 2 more feet to go in this wall, and you're chipping like things like this off of it.
Yeah,
You know? And you just
yeah.
have to keep going for hours and hours
I'd
just
rather-
to ride through it.
I'd rather dig dirt jumps.
Much easier. Yeah, no
Much
rock.
easier than trying to pick away at rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about or say or anything like that? If not, thank you very much for coming to Cleveland.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm always stoked to come back to Rays and ride and see everybody. And
Man, when I get that phone call,
See
I am
old
so
friends.
stoked when you
Sweet.
are like,
It's always last minute. I'm sorry, but
I
I'm
don't
just a last
care.
minute
I don't
person.
care if you called when you landed, be like, oh hey Keith, by the way, plane just landed in Cleveland. Can you come pick me up? I'd be like, hell yeah, I'd come pick you up.
Sweet.
Yeah. So next time you come, we'll have to try and get some guys to come out with you, maybe.
Yeah.
If
I'll
they're
have to
not
ask the
doing stuff, I
boys.
know you guys
They'll
are
be stoked.
super busy, but having all you guys come out would be really cool.
Yeah. What? So this place opens early October, right?
Early October, yep, and then
Okay.
we close down at the end of April, or like the first weekend in May will be this year.
Gotcha.
We're gonna go one weekend in May,
Okay.
and then we'll close after
Yeah, we'll have
that.
to find a weekend to bring Ethan and DJ out, just to have like a boys trip here. They would love it. DJ's been here once
DJ has been here
for
before.
the Odd Couple.
Yep.
But yeah, I told him I was coming here this weekend. He's like, "Oh, no way!" Like he was stoked. So I bet we can line up a weekend for all of them to come out. Yeah. that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
and especially since he was here last to now, and
Oh, yeah.
especially you, from the time you were here till now, have just progressed like so much. Like I see it in all the edits and all the videos and all the movies that you guys have put out. Like it's just incredible to watch the progression of you guys and like how it just happens, like all the time. You guys are having a blast. It seems like out there in the desert.
Yeah, the main
and-
thing is having fun with it. You know, once it gets stale or like, yeah, you're not having as much fun, then you got to do something else. Like you guys got to keep it fun, keep it real, and just have a good time. And then, yeah, everything comes with that. You know, just having a good time. That's the main thing.
So your main thing is you're going to tell the kids, get a job working at a car wash, making $7 an hour plus tips, and then you too can be a Redbull Rampage participant.
If that's what you want. Do that.
That's what you want.
Fabulous Freddy's. That was the place.
You
But,
got a Fabulous Freddy's? That's the name of the car wash?
Yeah. Worked there 8 to 2, and then right at 2 o'clock, I would go straight out to Virgin and ride out there.
Was there really a Fabulous Fred?
There was.
There. Oh,
His store was in Vegas though, but he would come sometimes. What's up, Freddie?
what did he drive?
I didn't see what he drove. Probably some Lambo or something.
Lambo or some Land Rover?
Yeah. All of the car washes everywhere.
Nice. All right, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Keith.
Thank you very much, man.
Mhm.
Thanks for being a good friend. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for everything.
Bye, guys. See ya. Get in the shot, man.
All right, it's great.